Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 171 of Shatter the Vain. Hopefully, you dug episode 170 last week with Gangstars, just kind of a deep dive into what they're doing, things that they have coming up, stuff that they're working on now. But this week, we're getting back to it. In episode 171, I have AWKN joining me. We go over all the news, the new skin, the glaive skin, that Dex that got released. We talk about Paladin Strike. We talk about Arena of Valor that recently got released in EU and NA1, and what Super Evil Megacorp can maybe learn from these other 5v5s that are knocking on their door, stealing their players away. I know a lot of people are jumping in and trying these other games, and you know what? You should try them. You should check them out, because then you can come back and you realize maybe why you fell in love with Vainglory in the first place. And you can see that maybe some of these other games don't have the features or things that maybe you see you can recommend to Super Evil Megacorp. So it's always good to check out these other games too. Like when you're stuck in your bubble, you need those outside opinions. It's nice. So we chat about that a little bit. We talk about the Unified Live Championships that are coming up here soon, Singapore as well for Worlds. We dive into some forum static where we make a plea to bring back the dev stream, the weekly dev streams. Please, Super Evil Megacorp, bring them back. Before we get into the episode, I want to mention the Patreon over at patreon.com/shatterthevain. If you can support the show there, that would be amazing. We're 171 episodes in, just doing this show for the love of the game. Love talking about it. Love meeting everyone within the community, hearing stories, playing with people. It's been a blast. So check that out. If you can't support it, I appreciate everyone that listens and checks it out that way. Go to iTunes, leave a review. That really helps too. It gets it up in rankings in iTunes, and more people can check out the show as well. So go do that. If you can't support the show financially, go leave a review. It's super easy. Just takes a few seconds. Do that on iTunes, or even on, I think the Google Play Store and Stitcher also have reviews too. But let's do it. Let's get into episode 170.
Shatter the Vain.
This is the 171st episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can become better players together. And every week, bringing on people that love the game, play the game, support the game. And this week, I have AWKN joining me. Welcome.
Hey, Brad. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, good to have you here. It's been a little while. I think it was earlier this year you were on. I forget what number it was.
I don't remember either. I think it was actually probably the end of last year, if I remember correctly. It was so long ago.
Cool. So I'm sure things have changed, and there's new people that are now listening to the podcast and watching it. So if people maybe missed that one, you want to give a little introduction of who you are?
Yes, and actually things have changed quite a bit since back then. So my real name is John. However, I'm better known as the alias AWKN, or my Twitter handle, or I guess my Mobcrush streaming profile. But I'm actually the founder and one of the parts of leadership in the startup esports organization Infinity Forge. It's something that I guess ironically started as a tournament organization, because I remember the first time I came on here, we were talking about several of the tournaments that we were hosting.
Yeah. As
far as for the amateur scene. However, obviously, Vainglory as a competitive game has taken off immensely since then, and I don't think there's very much reason for me to host that. And on top of that, it felt like an incredible amount of time and energy went to that, and at the time, I didn't have a team to support me. But I think at this point where I'm at right now, I'm pretty blessed to be surrounded by a great group of people, including all the people in Infinity Forge leadership, including Nate El Sucio, and just a quick shout out to them and everybody who kind of surrounds me on a day-to-day basis. But what we've been able to accomplish recently is kind of expanding into a few different mobile arenas, because we are mobile centric, and the goal is eventually to expand into other platforms eventually. But right now, we got to stay where the heart is, and that's at Vainglory, and that's kind of where we are now. And speaking of that, we actually this is more recent, so we just recently actually beat Misfits, which was a huge step in the right direction for Infinity Rebirth, which is the competitive team's name. So I'm super proud of those guys. Just wanted to make sure I gave them some love.
And that was in the VIS League, right?
Yes, sir. VIS Pro.
VIS Pro, nice. Yeah, that's been a fun little tournament during the off season to check out.
Absolutely.
See who's playing who or who's playing where and what teams are up and coming. So it's always nice to see.
Yeah, roster changes seem to be very, very frequent in this competitive scene. So it's always interesting.
Those tournaments. I think it's quick. I think people quickly realize as you start them how big of an undertaking they are. Like. Mad props to like the EZL folks that get it done and get that working, and because once you start, you're like, oh my gosh, this is more work than playing the game.
No, absolutely. Mad props to EZL and NACL, because when I did it, maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I didn't realize how much work it was going to be. I was literally at a desk answering emails all day. Sometimes even from people not reading, and it was frustrating. It's definitely a lot of work for one person. So the fact that they're doing it so well, obviously they have teams, is very, very impressive.
Cool. So I wanna talk about some of the other games you're getting into, but first off, Vainglory, how's it treating you lately? How's it going? You mentioned the team's doing well, but for yourself, because you also stream.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, personally, I'm never going to be shy about it. I love this game. It's given me the ability to meet really cool people, including yourself, some of the people that I consider not only friends, but I guess my second family in Infinity Forge. So it's been a blessing to this point, in my opinion. But as far as the game itself, it does kind of feel a little repetitive. I know that people have been saying that there's been a lot of like trolling and all these other things. I mean, I haven't really dealt with a lot of it, but I also admittedly don't play it as much as I once did maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Sure, yeah. Especially as you get built bigger with the organization and other games, you start to just kind of be like, it's the same game. I like it, but it's the same.
I just kind of feel like, and I know the devs work super hard, and I know it's not their fault. It's just, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, like, I'm not a genius, so I couldn't tell you what the game needs, but I can tell you that, I mean, it does sometimes get repetitive. I mean, most of the time, I'm the type of person, I used to solo queue to try and work at my own skill, but as of late, it's in my head, the game isn't as fun, but when I play it, it's fun. I don't know. It's just like the thought of solo queue makes me not want to play, but then I play it and I have fun. It's so confusing.
I agree with that. And then there's also, the talk of the 5v5. We all know that's coming. It's not here yet, but it's in the back of our mind that, like, I'll just wait for that, right? So it maybe was like it was a good reason to announce it because they wanted to like kind of build the hype. But then at the same time, you're like, well, why am I playing this? I know this other thing is coming.
Yeah, it's almost as if why are you going to sharpen your skill in a 3v3 when the 5v5 is coming out? But at the same time, I don't know if they've announced that it's going to be the strict competitive mode or any of that. I don't remember if they announced any of it. I don't think so. But I mean, it is what it is. And I'm kind of excited for 5v5, but I feel like if that ends up becoming the competitive scene, quote unquote, obviously a lot of change has to happen, and I think it would take maybe like a year after 5v5 is even rolled out, or maybe like or a few seasons before it becomes the predominant competitive mode, because there's so much adjusting you have to do, including balancing on a live server. It's immense.
Yeah, I was talking to Gangstars about that, and they're just saying, like, yeah, supporting that many people, if it was 3v3 and 5v5, an organization can't do that. Like, realistically, that's just a lot of players and a lot of money in one basket.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that at a certain point in the future, obviously, Vainglory and SCMC are going to have to make a decision what they want to do. We have something very unique with 3v3. However, it seems like, at least from what I understand, most of the player base on Twitter wants 5v5. And from what I also understand, that the amount of us, including yourself, that make up the Twitter sphere as far as Vainglory is a very, very small percentage of the game. So,
I think so.
Whereas Whereas we're like, man, everybody wants 5v5. In reality, we have no idea
Yeah,
what the actual numbers are.
We're in quite a bubble. We're just that echo space of our own memes and
Yeah,
comments.
exactly.
So, that's
Exactly.
cool. But so your stream then, for yourself, you've been getting into other mobile games too, because you're streaming over on Mob Crush, pretty much primarily, right?
Yes, sir. I actually was made a partner. I believe it was like 4 or 5 months ago. So no, it was about 6 months ago. It's awesome. Mob Crush is a awesome service. I feel like they kind of get better every now and then. They had a little bit of a lull period, but working directly with a lot of the developers and a lot of the community within Mob Crush, they're really, really driven people who really want to push the raft forward, and I have nothing but respect for them. So I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. So you're over there. You're now streaming some other games. I saw a VOD. I was over on your channel making sure I had the link right. You had a VOD of the Arena of Valor kind of there. You're playing that a little more in some other games?
Yes. Like we discussed a little bit earlier, I've been playing Paladin Strike, which just recently came out, or it's recently an alpha, like the very, very bare bones.
It's buggy but fun.
It's buggy, yeah, absolutely. Tons of fun. It's like that game Pig Bang. I don't know if you've played that.
I did a little
You're
bit.
in Paladins,
Yeah.
so, but the Paladins is fun. I think that the game has a lot of potential. It's crazy when like you can kind of see, like obviously it's just a bunch of people running around using abilities, but you could see the potential. I guess combo plays that can be made. With Arena of Valor, it's a game that I recently got into after actually Owens of Gangstars. His article was very interesting and very well put, and it really gauged my interest. So I did some searching about Arena of Valor. I gathered a bunch of information, also like getting information about the company that I guess owns the game, which is Tencent, and.
Right.
Such an immense superpower. One of the most, I think, illegal monopoly is, I guess, one of the best ways to describe them.
Well, they're also in China, so we're
So,
the U.S. doesn't know how to deal with that.
yeah, and it's they're a superpower. But if would you like me to give my perspective on Arena of Valor, the game?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that because it influences, I think, what Vainglory can do and kind of what's happening outside of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I personally feel like Arena of Valor and Vainglory, obviously very different because 3v3, 5v5. However, they are both MOBAs, so they're obviously going to share characteristics just like every other MOBA. But obviously mobile, so I think the few things that Vainglory has without a doubt on top of it is the Evil engine is so phenomenal. It's one of the most impressive pieces of technology I've ever seen on a mobile device. And the fact that it puts out the type of graphics and controls that it does is incredible. And I cannot say that, I guess, playing Arena of Valor, the joystick control, which is what I was going to get to, the joystick control isn't bad. However, I grew up as a console gamer, so thumbs are like my thing. And in Vainglory, I play on an iPad that I've grown accustomed to. But Arena of Valor, I like both games for different reasons. Vainglory, obviously, in my opinion, the better, more polished game at this point. Arena of Valor, with it being 5v5, it just has more macro play. The game isn't really centered around farming. I mean, it is, however, there's no creep score for last hits, for example.
Okay.
And the way the mechanic works is essentially that if you get the last hit, you just get more gold and experience, as if the minion was just to die near you.
Okay, because you still get gold if it just dies. But okay, so
it's not like in Vainglory where you have the last hit, which is I believe is if I was to compare them to, I was to say that Vainglory is the higher mechanical skill capped game because of the level of precise touches and etc. However, when Vainglory moves to 5v5, or just for example, if you use Arena of Valor, team play can sometimes overcome individual mechanics just because of the scope of the game.
Right. Yeah.
But Arena of Valor, because Tencent is also the company that I believe owns Riot Games, or like has the largest stake in Riot Games.
I think they own them at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think last time I looked at the number, it was like 92.8%, and I was like, you may as well just like, who owns the other? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. No, but truthfully, I think the biggest issue with Arena of Valor right now is a lot of people who are Vainglory diehards, like yourself and myself. I include myself in there, is that they were so biased. They're like, oh, it's just a Mobile Legends ripoff. When in reality, it's a much better game. And yeah, the whole joystick thing turns people off, but I encourage people to try it out. And I mean, if anything, it'll give you a small taste of what Vainglory 5v5 could potentially be like.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I think it's funny that everyone complained about Mobile Legends for a month there, and then Arena of Valor came out, and now Mobile Legends is, we forgot about that. We're on to complaining about this game taking away our audience and advertising. And
yeah. Well, the few things I think Arena of Valor, well, one thing that makes it also incredibly different from Vainglory is the fact that it's so fast-paced. People, you level up so quickly. Team fights are essentially what all the game is about. I mean, Vainglory, you can say the same. However, it seems like Arena of Valor is much more high-paced and like right into the action. Pro games don't last longer than, I think, 18 minutes. And I guess you could say the same for Vainglory, but it's just different. Because it's 5v5 lasting 18 minutes, not 3v3 lasting 15 minutes, if that makes sense.
All right.
You think with that, there'd be a much larger time.
That's good, because that's something I guess I've chatted about on here, like Vainglory going to 5v5. How are they going to make sure it doesn't creep longer? Because the League of Legends games, you can go an hour. There are the random hour games where that's not going to work on a mobile device. I've already felt like either my iPad is getting older, my battery doesn't stay charged as long, or Vainglory sucks up more battery power than it used to. So I'm not lasting
absolutely And I think the one thing is accessibility obviously is a primary thing that Vainglory and both mobile MOBAs have. That it's much easier to play a MOBA off your phone than it is to go, for those people who don't have obviously the most resources in the world, go purchase a gaming device or gaming computer for whatever have you, $1,200, $1,100 plus. So it's much more accessible.
So that game is only available in the EU right now, so you got to account there and set it up, right?
Yeah, we actually had someone within one of our Vainglory guild. He took one for the team, made an account, and
nice. Okay.
So we've all been kind of playing it. It's fun, and when people stop by my stream and they see me playing it, they're like, "No, Vainglory." I'm like, "No, you have to understand. I'm just playing this game because it's fun. I enjoy it. It's different, yes." But I almost feel like in the community, it feels like people are like, you can't like both. It's like,
right.
Why not?
And I think that may happen here with Paladins a little bit, with that just getting launched in the alpha. But when you're streaming or making any sort of content, your job is to entertain people. And if you're not either having fun or you are just kind of lackluster there playing, it's not interesting to watch. So I think diving into a different game sometimes is kind of just livens up the stream.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I think that Arena of Valor is a little bit more like we played the first few times I streamed it. I played 5v5 with people from Vainglory, and it was mixed results, but it was just a heck of a lot of fun because I mean, first I feel like there's more high energy with 5 people as opposed to 3, and I mean on top of that, we obviously weren't as attached to winning or losing. So I mean, it was just a ton of fun. I encourage anyone who has any doubts that is like biased to Vainglory, check it out, try it out, I mean, it's fun, and it is coming to North America soon. And on that note, I also feel like it's going to be an incredible level of competition for SCMC, but I'm rooting for SCMC all the way.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you see that they're kind of doing that maybe we might see in Vainglory for 5v5, or things that Vainglory could pick up and put in there? I know that game and Paladins have a ton of like mobile gamification kind of things going on, and Super Evil has kind of not been all about that. They've crept into it a little bit, but it's not as like
the quote-unquote freemium.
Yeah. There's not 50 chests you're opening every like 5 minutes, and then it just is like, what is going on with this game?
Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of turned me off about the game. I actually have someone who stopped by my stream who I have a very good dialogue with about the game, ask him questions, because he's actually one of the top 50 players in like a few different servers. And I don't like the whole, I don't want to say it's pay to win, but one thing that is, I guess, the Vainglory does have over, without a doubt, as far as paying for the content, is that whereas Vainglory, the new hero is only available for Ice, which is premium currency,
Right.
for the first 7 days. Then they can be purchased with glory. And there's a few heroes, including, this is going to maybe make a few people laugh, Batman, who's part of Arena of Valor because they have a DC license. He's actually only available through paid, through premium in-game currency. And he's actually a pretty strong character from what I understand. I don't know if he's very meta because I don't really know if there's a meta in EU right now because the games, everybody's just kind of running around doing everything. It's very frustrating. Playing ranked is like, imagine playing Vainglory ranked at like your current skill tier, whatever it is, tier 9, 10, and then you get dropped into tier 3 and have to figure it out, but with not 2 other teammates, but 4 other teammates.
Right.
It's so hectic.
It's chaos. When I played Mobile Legends, it was just chaos. I'm like, I played League. I know what you're supposed to do. What are we doing?
Yeah, and it's always funny because you play with new people. I mean, obviously, I played solo queue, so that was people want to complain about Vainglory solo queue getting one bad teammate. If you play, oh my gosh, getting like 2 or 3 bad teammates, oh man, it's not that they're bad. It's just some people are new to MOBAs, so they're diving under turret, not understanding why they're taking damage, stuff like that.
And I know, I think that game and Paladins skins like give you extra damage, which is kind of a little shady to the pay to win, because if you can spend money on content, you do more damage. Oh.
No, yeah, and I think the way I look at it is the way Vainglory kind of does it is very fair in my opinion. Nothing that you can purchase in game will give you an upper hand. It's either strictly cosmetics or for brawl modes that obviously aren't affecting your ranked your skill tier. Getting back to that is that I didn't like the fact that, like, for example, in Paladin Strike, there's one hero, Victor, who in being the alpha, they've given a crap load of in-game currency for free, and one of the skins that I got through that was it gave me like a 3% attack boost. I don't remember if Arena of Valor does something similar. I know that they have Arcana, which is similar to a system in League of Legends, but I've never liked the whole pay money to get a small advantage.
Right.
And in my opinion, for example, with the whole Batman thing, the hero, I understand, just make it so that it's available for free. I understand that maybe you put a high price on the hero. I get it, but at least make it so it is available. Don't lock it behind a paywall. That type of stuff is the type of thing that I feel like the difference is that Tencent owns that game, and that's a big corporation, as opposed to SCMC, which is a dedicated group of individuals who are also passionate gamers. And I think that's just the type of big difference you get in companies. And and like a lot of people complain about Vainglory, and I know we sometimes have these bugs and stuff, but people don't really understand the type of relationship that we actually have with SCMC. We're lucky if you think about it.
Yeah, I think playing some of these other games and seeing what they're like makes you realize how good Vainglory is and how really nice the developers are and supportive of it. As you maybe you complain about it, but then you go somewhere else, they don't care about you, and everything's more expensive. Yeah. you're just feeding them. So yeah.
Last thing about Arena of Valor I think I'll touch on is one of the big things that I've noticed is it seems that there is no stones overturned as far as, or no price is too high for our advertising, because their recent event at Gamescom, I think it was.
Yeah.
I watched it on Twitch. It had a viewership of 11,000, 12,000. And one of the arguments that I heard was people were like, well, the issue is that they paid for all the advertising. I'm like, yes. However, you have to understand, Tencent's a huge company. Mm-hmm. They're going to continue to pay for that advertising. If you look at the numbers behind, I think it was the thing called Strike of Kings in China, or I think it just changed to Arena of Valor. This game makes an incredible amount of money every single month, enough to where it funds itself. And I don't want to cross any boundaries. I don't want to be incorrect, but I've also heard, I don't know from who or from where I read, that it actually makes more money than League of Legends.
Wow. Okay. I could see that. You throw money at mobile games without realizing it.
Yeah, $10 here, man. Clash Royale's eating up my money.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. That's enough about these other mobile games. We should get back to what's happening in the world of Vainglory. We had some fun news happen over the past couple weeks, so let's dive into that.
Vainglory News.
The first bit of news I got to talk about is the Samsung DeX that got announced, and that Vainglory is going to support mouse and keyboard integration in update 2.8. This was a pretty big announcement from Samsung. So Vainglory was like featured prominently. They're kind of like a cornerstone of this new device. What the DeX is, if you haven't been following this news, it's basically a hub that you place your Samsung phone in. I think it has to be one of the new phones or newest generations. You connect that to a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, and what you see on your phone will be blown up in kind of like a new environment into your like a monitor. So it's kind of like a Chromebook in a way. But Vainglory is one of the games that have been tweaked to work with the mouse and keyboard when you dock it with the DeX. And people are kind of upset. My response was more just, why? I guess, why? I don't know if you have any thoughts on this.
Actually, yeah, I was one of the people that was kind of like throwing up their arms, like, why would you do this? But then after, because I was on the same page as you. I'm like, why do this? But then after having a few people stop by my stream and chatting about it a little bit, it makes sense. It is honestly advertising. It makes a lot of sense. It's maybe not the advertising that everybody in the community, quote unquote, wants, but it is SCMC advertising. Obviously, they have a deal with Samsung, so and if they're going to be the cornerstone of the product, then I mean, it makes sense. I think there's like a keynote or something, and hopefully SCMC's featured just like they were on the Apple keynote a few years ago.
Right.
But I think while I don't really think the idea of playing on a keyboard and mouse is and I actually have another point, is like, I don't think that's like where we should be going with Vainglory. I am not the owner of the company, and I think that anything that they do that they feel will help progress the company and the player base is in the best interest of them, and they know what they're doing. I'm not an expert in marketing, but the one thing that did kind of throw me off guard is I didn't understand why integrate this if it's not going to be allowed in anything but like casual play. And from I got clarification that it's mouse and keyboard are and will be banned in competitive play. But the reason I got was because the setups at live, and you could go through my tweet thread.
Okay.
The setups at live do not support mouse and keyboard, and I agree, that makes sense. However, I kind of feel like there could have been a little bit more expounded upon there. Like, is that something you plan to do? I don't know. It just
there's some questions, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not my business. Like I said, SCMC does what they do, and I trust them. However, I don't personally quite understand. Like if it's allowed in ranked, it's not allowed in competitive. That makes sense, but it just seems more of an advertising gimmick, in my opinion. And I don't mean that to take shots at SCMC. I just mean that as like my opinion. And like I said, if it helps SCMC, I'm all for it.
Right. So when I went to the event, the Red Bull one, like that was a long time ago now. None of the competitor players used anything but an Apple device. It was iPhones or iPads. I think they had like a Samsung tablet or another tablet just in case, because they have backup devices in case somebody's has issues, so they can swap them quickly. So most of the competitive players, at least in North America, are not playing on non-Apple devices at the moment. That could change because this new Samsung device could be super fast and really powerful. So who knows there? But using the DeX on the keyboard and mouse, the barrier to entry it's massive. So if you think about it, you need just one of these Samsung devices. That's about $1,000. You need the DeX. That's $100. Then you need another monitor and a keyboard. Maybe you unplug your computer if you're going to plug your phone in, but that seems impractical. And so you need a separate station, I guess, for your phone. So this is not for people that play games. This is for people that basically have a Chromebook kind of use case. Like, I use my phone for a lot, but sometimes when I'm at home, I just need to do a little more. Like, it's those kind of people. They're not hardcore gamers.
No, it makes sense, and that's why you saying that, and that's kind of also kind of how I feel it. That's why I feel like more than anything, it's for advertisement. And hey,
Yeah.
like I said, if it works, it works. One other thing that's actually a fun fact is I thought that too. Majority of players in NA play, or a majority of pro players, I still think probably use iOS devices. But what's interesting is in like other parts of the world, like China, iOS devices are considered like products of the business people and the wealthy.
Right.
So like it, obviously in North America it's a little bit different. So
And yes, and what was I gonna say? I forgot on this Samsung thing, but I think to show off how powerful it is, using something like a game like Vainglory that has this response that you know what it looks like, how quickly things move on the phone. You want to show that it's happening on the monitor as well. So that's just showing off the power of the decks.
absolutely, and they didn't. And using a game like Vainglory, like you said, is I think a phenomenal way to do so.
Yeah. So as I let this simmer, I got less upset and more just like what?
Yeah.
It was more of a why to whatever.
Yeah, I think that's how most people who thought about it deeply like reacted. We're just kind of like, well, this is weird, but hey, if it helps SCMC and like Vainglory benefits from it, cool. Like it obviously doesn't impact us as players. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're still going to be playing on whatever device you're currently playing on, which I think I remember you telling me was a Shield, and I'm still going to be playing on my iPad.
I had a Shield. I've played that for a little while. I have the iPad Mini I play on, which is showing its age quite a bit. So it's almost time to upgrade there.
I need to invest in a new Pro myself.
But this update is going to be available in update 2.8, which that would make me think update 2.8 is like within a week or two away, because they want this out. The decks you can already buy, so they want this out as quickly as possible, just to make sure, probably to have in stores so they can show it off in, I don't know, there's not Samsung stores, are there? But there's probably Verizon stores and things like that can show it off. So update 2.8, I think it's going to be coming soon, because we also already have a tease of this new King Glaive skin, which...
Oh my goodness.
This may be the best Glaive skin. Yeah, this is the best Glaive skin. I'm saying that right now.
No, I think so too. I'm personally a huge fan of lions. I love the animal. So like this, I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm just going to throw money at this. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and I love the departure of Glaive here. Like now, this opens up the whole thing that, human characters for skins don't have to stay humans. Like we can go in any direction now. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost as if I think someone made the point that I was talking to that it's basically a new hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or it looks like one.
Yeah, you would be probably confused if you were a new player and someone jumped in with that Glaive skin. You'd be like, I don't have the lion hero. Who's this?
Yeah.
So that's one of the skins that we've seen teased so far. There's usually 4 skins that come in every update, so keep an eye out on the Vainglory Twitter for more stuff. They did tease what looks like a new item that's going to be coming. I know people were speculating skins, or even a talent, but it looks like this is going to be an item to me. Did you see this video from Vainglory?
Yes, I did. And yeah, it does look like an item. Looks a little bit shiny too.
It was red, so I would guess some sort of weapon power item. Maybe it's like a utility weapon power item, something for the captain heroes.
That would make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously I like we're both on the same page. It's a weapon power item. However, I don't have any idea what they could also add, because we already have piercing, we have lifesteal, we have wound. So my research and my background in MOBAs isn't super in depth, so I didn't really have an idea of what I guess it could be. I mean, I'm excited for it. Hopefully it makes a huge difference.
I know the League has a lot of items where you can activate them, and they do like an area of effect damage. So if you're fighting like a bunch of minions, you also hit that. It does like a little burst, and it clears out a bunch of them. That'd be something.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too many activatable damage items. Have we seen that?
Oh man.
So that would create this more complexity to the game that I think would be really nice.
I think if they ever added they probably will in the future, but if they activated an activatable stun, along with like, and if I'm playing against a Catherine that does that, man, that's AFK material right there.
Right, there you go. So this is exciting. I think new items may, I guess, reignite that passion we were kind of saying earlier in the episode. That's like, yeah, we still enjoy it, but we're not playing it as much. New stuff gets added. You gotta get in there and give it a try.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Continuing down through the news, there's been a lot of talk about issues with YouTube monetization. I know you're mainly just streaming on Mob Crush, so you're not really dealing with too much YouTube, but there is this pushback that YouTube does not want game content being monetized on their site anymore. Basically anything that has a gun or anything that's like showing killing people, they are demonetizing. So people who were uploading a lot of stuff to YouTube are just having issues now. One of those people being Rumbly, who posted a video. Have you read or have you heard people talking about this at all?
Yeah, actually, I've actually talked to this pretty extensively with a few people, and yeah, I think it's properly termed the adpocalypse, essentially.
Yeah.
And I like, for guys like Rumbly, who, the way I put it is when he said something about it on Twitter, and I said that this situation, especially for a lot of YouTube gamers, I mean, obviously guys like Markiplier, PewDiePie, the huge names, they won't be that affected because they already have a huge brand. But like, for people who may have just stepped out of their line of work, or may have just walked away from a career and to pursue their passion, which was making them more money at the time, this is absolutely financially crippling for some people.
Right.
And it's like, one of the rebuttals was, well, if you can't invest full force into that platform. My thing is, YouTube was as stable as a platform could get. It's not like it was a startup. And I just think a lot of it is political correctness, and I think that's obviously a different topic, but I think it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's weird that we know how big and the potential of esports. It's huge, and the video game scene is massive. It's outpacing the movie industry at this point. Like, why mess with the gaming part of your platform? Like, you're just opening up for Twitch or even Facebook to come and be like, yeah, we'll give you guys money if you put videos here, and then your audience is gone, because a lot of people that are watching videos on YouTube are kids that want to watch games. If it's not there, they will go elsewhere.
Absolutely, and I think that right now this would be one heck of a time for any one of those companies, Twitch, Facebook, to make a business move, and it would really hurt YouTube. And I think, like, for example, in Rumbly's situation, I think he said, like, anything with a gun in the title, like, or something like that, or something even more minuscule than that, can get you demonetized. And the other thing is, like, yourself, you yourself release tons of content on Shatter The Vain on your YouTube channel. You work so hard, and for all that to be like, it's absolutely ridiculous for me. It almost neuters creativity.
Mm-hmm. And it's not the money that's the big reason too. Rumbly's video kind of commented on that. He's also running into issues just playing Vainglory, where people are trolling, they're AFKing a lot more, so videos are taking a lot more time, which if you're not making enough money from the AdSense,
you're not having fun,
and you're not having fun, the return on it is like, well, I spent 4 hours doing this, I had to play 3 hours of the game, one of those worked, and okay. For what? So,
I think a lot of that is has to do with the kind of the quote unquote death of the casual player in Vainglory. Mm-hmm. Everybody who I know who's that Vainglorious or above, like myself, I mean, I don't really care that much anymore about skill tier. However, I know people that like really care. Like, it's the game's almost, because of the intense focus on esports, the game itself has almost become competitive.
Right.
Obviously, more so, like, individual between players.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the death of the casual player, I think, is a good point. I think we lost a lot of people recently that were good at the game and didn't play that much. So if they left, it decreased. So you got the people that are like really good and could level up and try hard. Like, they're in there now, and then you have more people trolling. So you have the casual good players aren't there anymore. So.
No, yeah, and I think that's the thing. A lot of the people I know who, like, even within our guild and the organization, a lot of the people who, not just Rebirth, but a lot of the people who are like high skill tier, like Vainglorious and above, they're all on competitive teams and they're all trying to become they're all working to get to VGA, obviously is the goal, but like you said, and even then there's not that many community streamers. And it's like if you're a community streamer and like if people come into your chat and they ask you if you're tier 10, you say no and they just like, all right, well bye. It's so ridiculous. Like it's so like I was so thankful that I hit Vainglorious just so when people ask I could be like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I'll stay. And then they see me throw, and then they leave anyway. But hey, at least they stayed for a few more minutes.
Right, yeah. Like, I my content is more just fun, and, like, I try different things, and people get all mad that I didn't build correctly. It's like, as one game, I made a video, otherwise every video and game is the same, and it goes back to that boring part of it. Like, you want to watch me build the same item on every weapon carry, it's the same video.
Go.
Yeah.
Poison Shiv, Tension Bow, Breaking Point Box.
Yeah.
Again.
Here you go. You want to win? That's what you do.
Yeah, and I like that's the thing. I don't think there's very many good casual players. I guess I consider myself a casual player, but even then, I'm quote unquote like tier 10. Like it's what does it take anymore? Like it's so ridiculous. We've had so many streamers walk away from the game as well because it feels like a lot of them felt like they weren't getting that much support and. I don't know. The game has evolved from casual and competitive, in my opinion, to being way more focused on competitive. And everyone I know, like in my group of friends, all want to be competitive players. That's right. Or they play at a high level. So it's like the only people I know who are casuals are the people who are like, I guess not even around like tier 7, tier 4. I don't even know. The player base that's not on Twitter are all the people who don't want to play competitive, I think.
Right, and we need some more of those people to kind of come back and start making content and videos, especially the ones that play with their viewers. Like, those were the players, maybe they weren't the best players, but they played with everyone because they were like, I'm tier 5, like, who cares? Like, let's play, like, the Brizzle McFizzles or the Ferrises, like, those kind of people that were just kind of, just had fun.
and I feel like there's a lot more egos now. Like, now that everybody's tier 10, that it seems like everybody has an ego and everybody's like people don't get the position or the hero they want, they turret run, and it's just honestly like we're focusing on the bad right now, and I love Vainglory, but you got to see it as a whole thing, and I find it pretty funny whenever that type of stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. And so that all goes back to why maybe you're not seeing as much content from people playing Vainglory, especially on YouTube, because YouTube's being jerks and they don't want you to be there. So hopefully maybe someone at SMC can work with YouTube to make sure this content doesn't get flagged, because there isn't any blood, so it should be very PG for everyone.
Yeah. Do you think that would be a possibility that someone from SCMC actually reaches out to YouTube?
I think they could, and then it would just be them having to make sure content that's marked with Vainglory isn't like secretly, like you could mark something as any game, like a Disney game, and maybe not get flagged. So you got to be careful with that. But if they could go and make sure, like, hey, Rumbly's channel's good, Brad's channel's good, Flash X channel is good, like whatever they put up, we trust them. Like, go for it.
Yeah, and I think it's just honestly, the reason why it's so difficult is because there's so much content on YouTube uploaded every single day, and you can't have humans sift through all that because that would never get done. No. So the algorithm they came up with it's obviously not perfect. So that's the issue.
Yeah. Then speaking of competitive, the competitive side, the live championships are coming up here September 8th through the 10th in LA. That's the weekend after Labor Day. So we're basically 2 weeks away from it now. So any predictions? Did you fill out your bracket?
I haven't filled it out yet. However, I'm totally expecting dominant performances from North America, obviously.
Yeah.
I think with our current group of teams going, I don't think we drop a game to EU, personally. But I mean, we'll see. Nothing against EU, but NA is just seriously proven to be the powerhouse. Personally, I'm rooting for because Gangstars isn't there, and obviously I've been a huge fan of Gangstars for a couple of years now. I'm rooting for Immortals. I actually know Max Green personally. He's an awesome kid, He's a awesome. He's even a better roamer. So I'm excited to see where they go. I feel like they could actually take the whole thing. Cloud9, obviously incredibly talented. TSM. I think it's just going to come down to who matches up who in the semifinals. I think that's honestly what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that. The first day is always maybe not the most interesting, but then as you get into those like second day and like the finals, it just gets intense. So excited to watch it. I'll definitely be checking it out. I won't be there, so I'll be watching it here at home.
Yeah, same. Unfortunately, I was gonna go but I had some real life stuff come up, and then also I just recently got a puppy. It's on Twitter if people want to see it.
Oh, nice.
And he's a lot of work.
Yeah, puppies are way more work than people. Until you get a puppy, you're like, that seems easy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I want to mention the Vainglory Worlds that are happening in Singapore again. We should probably see the announcement of the date. It might get announced like during the live championships. We don't know any other info about just that it's happening. So look for that soon, because I think SCMC is realizing that they need to tell people sooner that these events are happening.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, but Vainglory's going back home. I mean, the only thing I know about Singapore is that you're not allowed to chew gum there.
Right, yeah. Don't spray paint stuff, and you can't chew gum. That's the...
Yep, pretty much.
Cool. So keep a lookout for more info on that. Well, that's all the news. But before we get out of here, I got one little forum static topic to talk about.
Forum static.
On the forums, I saw a post that caught my eye because I was thinking about this recently too. And it kind of comes off of the AMA Super Evil Megacorp did on Reddit about the Samsung Dex thing. The weekly dev streams, a weekly update from them would be amazing if this came back. Anyone that's been playing since the beginning, there used to be a Friday weekly stream with Super Evil Megacorp, sometimes Zekent, sometimes Playoff Beer, takeovers by Shin Kaigen. Other people have done it and run it, and Nivmet took it over for a while. And it was great. They gave away ice, people played games, they released news, and they just gave a little update, a state of the game. And it was exciting. You learned a lot from those. And I think bringing those back would be incredibly important now. At this point, as we're working our way towards 5v5, we're having questions come up with this Dex and just other concerns. I think this would be a great opportunity for Super Evil Megacorp to get back on Twitch and start streaming some new content.
I agree. I think that level of community involvement is very important. And it would help I think here's the thing, whereas, for example, yourself and a lot of the older players, they essentially, quote unquote, grew up with that, Mm-hmm. But a lot of the newer players, a lot of them don't have the level of connection that a lot of the older players have with not only SCMC, but the devs themselves. So I feel like that'd be nothing but good, but obviously SCMC has an incredible amount of work on their plate. Yeah. So, I mean, I would like to see that come back as well.
You when we started playing, you became known of these devs, and they were like the face of the company, so you felt attached to them. As you don't see videos from anyone outside of the esports scene, you start to feel unconnected to the company, which then you lash out, I guess.
That happens, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this was an interesting post. There wasn't that many people commenting about it, but I'll include a link in the show notes. Go over there, just add the 2 cents if you want them to come back. I feel like a grassroots kind of campaign, maybe we can get someone back there, even if they just hire someone to be like, hey, I'm the Friday dev, let's do this.
Yeah. No, yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be tons of fun. I mean, it would be cool just to talk to the devs on a more regular basis, because whenever they do have update streams, it's always good to get your comments in there, get them read, and obviously even play. I think it'd be a great idea. Mm-hmm. And I think that, everybody should go put their 2 cents, because SCMC does listen. They're a company that does that. So if anyone wants to talk, it's a good time to.
Yeah, and everyone loved playing on stream. With the downtime streams, only the PBE players can play on it.
Yeah.
So now you don't get to showcase your skills like jumping into a match. And I think that was a lot of fun for a lot of people, just being like, I'm on stream, they picked me, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that helps build not only foster interest in the game, but help build the community. Because I mean, the closer the devs work with the players, I think the better the game will be in the long run.
Mm-hmm. So, yep, good point. I was just thinking recently about the dev stream, so it caught my eye. So I thought it was a good topic. Well, that's gonna do it for episode 171 Awaken. Thanks for joining me. This was great.
Thank you, Brad. It was a ton of fun being here.
Yeah, and I looked back on the previous episode where we were chatting, and that was June of 2016. So yeah, it's been quite a while.
A little while.
Yeah. Cool. So where can people find you, find these pictures of these puppies, and see your stream?
You could check my Twitter out at Awaken TV, Awaken capitalized AWKN, TV lowercase. You can check my stream out on mobcrush.com/awaken, and anything Infinity Forge related, infinityforge.net, or you could obviously tag the organization on Twitter at InfinityForgeGG. We have a game coming up against Rogue next week. We have our work cut out for us, but we're excited.
Awesome. Well, I'll include links to the all of those in the show notes and in the description, so everyone go there, follow, check out your streams. Do you have a schedule that you're streaming, or is it kind of random?
I'm working on the schedule. I try to do it nightly, but the thing is with the puppy, and because he has a small bladder, among other things, I have to take him out every couple hours. But whenever he's asleep, he's out for maybe anywhere between 3 to 4 hours. So that's usually when I try and hop on.
Go time. All right. Well, cool. Well, I'll let you go. You probably have to take him out here then soon if he's not sleeping. But
yeah.
You can follow Shatter The Vain on Twitter at Shatter The Vain, website shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there, links to iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and everything else is there. So I'll be back next week with 172. Take care.
Let's get this over with.